Welcome to Soul via Soul, the podcast where we embark on a journey of self-love and true wellness. I'm your host, Jada, and I'm absolutely delighted to have you here with me as we dive into all things mind, body, and soul. Now, what do you say we get this thing started? Let's dive in. Hi, and welcome back to Soul via Soul. So today we're going to talk about a hot topic, and it's hot for a few reasons. Number one, it's hot because I've kind of got a bee in my bonnet to talk about this. And number two, it's hot because we're going to be lighting a fire. And it's a good thing that it's fall because who doesn't love a nice cozy fire, right? But we're going to be lighting a fire within ourselves and a fire to burn something. This is kind of like a good old-fashioned bra burning, except we're going to fast forward into 2023, looking at 2024 as being the year that we're going to bust out. And we're going to bust out by looking inward. And we're going to remove the mask of being a good girl. Now, to be fair, being labeled a good girl can carry both positive and negative connotations. But now, I don't know if it was because I was raised in the South or because I'm indeed a girl that I have often heard that phrase, this is what a good girl would do. And honestly, often it would come with me suppressing some part of me that felt too big to be expressed. So I had to tone down whatever big emotion I might want to express because good girls didn't behave that way. Good girls didn't say that, and good girls certainly didn't do that. Whatever it is, fill in the blank. And this is so layered within our society. And again, is this because I was raised in the South and it's a little bit more ingrained about being a good girl? I don't know. I can't really speak to that because I'm sure there are women all over the world who have their own stories of what it means to be labeled a good girl. And it often comes with the pitfalls associated with conforming to society's expectations of how women, quote, should be. And I think it's time to burn that. And I think it's time that women feel empowered to take off this resting good girl mask, a mask that they wear in their life, and a mask that covers and layers all of their actions and choices throughout their life. I know because I was one. And I still struggle with that. We're all works in progress. I say that all the time. We don't have it all figured out, and that's okay. It's the journey. But as we journey toward healing, it's a removing of layers. It's the unbecoming of who we had to become or who we thought we had to be in order to be accepted in this world. And I can't tell you the number of people that have reached out to me commenting about how refreshing it feels to just talk about and normalize what it feels like to just want to feel whole and complete and worthy. And the irony is we already are. And yet we've layered ourselves, we've armored ourselves, we've adorned ourselves with masks that we think we need to be and wear in order to feel worthy and successful. And it doesn't matter how many layers of success you put on. If you don't feel worthy to your core, there's a problem and there's a disconnect. So being a good girl, what does that mean? It often means that you suppress your authenticity. And it can also mean that you don't feel like you can communicate what you truly feel. And we end up stuffing our feelings and morphing them and changing them into something that's more acceptable, which leads to a repression of our emotions. And as we know, emotions are in our body. And when we repress and stuff those emotions, they're going to come out in a physical way because it's energy. Those emotions are energy in motion. And when we stifle them and stop them and mask them and cover them up, they will eventually come out sideways in our life. It creates women who don't feel they can communicate in an assertive way, because we all know what we get labeled in those instances. And yet, that's exactly what we do want to do, is be able to own our power and state what we feel and have validity and authenticity around our feelings. It often creates a sense of being a perfectionist. And I can speak very clearly to this. I thought I had to create a Norman Rockwell family. Everything had to be perfect. I'm talking all the way down to the matching pajamas on a Christmas card. That somehow meant that I had made it. Look at me, I was successful, which made it increasingly devastating that I ended up being divorced, because that was a complete failure on my part, I felt at the time. And good girls certainly didn't get divorced. So many things that we have to undo. And being a good girl can limit your opportunity for personal growth. If you're constantly adhering to the good girl image, you won't potentially take risks or explore new ideas. And since I basically broke the mold of what I thought being a good girl was by doing the own work myself and going to therapy for years and then becoming a therapist myself to help others do the same, I realized how freeing and empowering it truly has been in my life, allowing me to take risks, to start new companies, to start new ventures, not knowing if it would work out or not, but having the courage to try and to look fear square in the face and go, okay, yeah, I see you. Let's go. And I could not have done that wearing the good girl mask. And I think one of the biggest, most distressing characteristics of being a good girl is being a people pleaser, where you really just feel like you have no boundaries whatsoever. You allow any sort of behavior at all. You scour for the little crumbs on the floor, mush it together and call it a whole piece of bread. And that's the saddest part, is that when you are a people pleaser, you really will limit what you can achieve in your life, because you don't value yourself enough to ask for more. Again, I know, because I was her. I've sat where you sit or are scared to sit. So go gather some sticks, find the little knobby thing that turns on the gas, whatever. We're going to light a fire. We're going to take off this mask of perfectionism, boundaryless persona, the expectations that others place upon our lives, and we're going to live an authentic, soul-filled life. But first, we have to burn the mask. The mask that we have put on for the world. And it is through the lens through which we view the world as well. So taking off the mask is going to free us. Trust me on this one. It's going to feel good. So gather the sticks, get the fire ready with intention. We're going to take off this mask and we're going to burn it.